Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever part of the world you may be in, and whatever time of day. This is Dr. Don with your daily LightPoint. I'm happy to start a new week, and I want to continue on this path around leading through. We took a couple-day break with the National Independence Day holiday, but we're back at it. And I'm really excited because last week we had an opportunity to record a great podcast with a cultural anthropologist, Samantha Stillwell. So I'm really excited to um, launch the podcast in the next couple of days so you all can engage in this dialogue with us. We covered so many different topics as it centered around this conversation um, that was really prompted by reflection on the holiday, the National Independence Day holiday. So anyway, I'm excited about that. But as we continue around this conversation about leading through, I really want to hone in on the concept today, leading through uncertainty. The reality is, good, bad, or indifferent, we encounter uncertainty in our lives. That's just a part of life. It's a part of business, right? And as leaders, we are in a position where we're often sought after for clarity, for understanding in the midst of uncertainty. So even when there's uncertainty for us. So when we talk about leading through uncertainty, I think there's some important principles that we just have to really lean in on. One being this conversation around trust. In the midst of uncertainty, our survival instinct often has us questioning many things. And as we encounter others, it's important that we can leverage uncertainty as a platform to build trust and connection in the midst of uncertainty. And it can help us develop trust in how we move, how we behave, how we lead with the level of transparency and vulnerability, right? So being open with your team, it can not only help them build trust, but also confidence in whatever we're navigating, while uncertain and unclear as the path may be, that they are being led by someone who um, is leaning in on what's required, what they're encountering. So leading with transparency and vulnerability can not only build trust, but also confidence. When I think about that, oftentimes in uncertain times, the strongest of leaders are ones who acknowledge that, yes, things are unclear. Yes, there are uncertainties in what we're going to do next, but we're going to be resilient. We're going to get through it. And these are the steps that we're going to take. So transparency and vulnerability is important. So we have this power of building trust and connection. We have leading with transparency and vulnerability. I think the other piece that we really need to keep in mind, especially in the midst of uncertainty, is not oversimplifying nuances and trying to arrive at quick conclusions or moving in haste, right? Be disciplined even in the midst of uncertainty. Do your due diligence, understand root cause of challenges, map out the pathway that you believe best to follow, even in the midst of uncertain times or lack of clarity or ambiguity. Really seeking to understand the situation that you or others may be find themselves in. Resist oversimplification or moving in haste, even in the midst of uncertainty. It's very important. And negative outcomes when you move or oversimplify can actually be counterproductive in your desire to build trust and confidence. I think the other thing is, in the midst of uncertainty, again, our fear response sometimes limits our desire to want to be agile or be flexible. But that's the complete opposite of what you want to do. In uncertain times, because you can't anticipate outcomes, being flexible and agile becomes essential, right? Make changes to help you minimize your risk and really survive, scenarios that you could never have anticipated. So remaining flexible and agile in the midst of uncertainty is essential. The last one I want to leave you with is focus on what matters, because oftentimes, we in the midst of uncertainty, we try to grasp at whatever we believe can give us some sense of direction. But that doesn't mean that what we're grasping at is actually value added or is necessary. So focus on what matters. Focus on where you're having the greatest impact. Focus on the things that will help you get to some desired outcome. Because at the end of the day, we can only control what we can control. The way our brains work, we're wired to find patterns and really understand that if this works for me, I'm going to stick to it. But the challenge with the way our brain works is we have to understand that what has become routine, what has become familiar, can sometimes be extremely limiting. So having this open mind to, okay, instead of doing what I've always done, let me do what matters. So let's recap. Build trust and connection. Lead with transparency and vulnerability. Resist oversimplification, really running to quick conclusions. Embrace flexibility and being agile. And most importantly, focus on what matters. Even when we have this desire to just control what we can, focus on what matters. Leading in uncertainty. Thank you for tuning in to our daily Light Point. Real leaders, real talk, real time. Tomorrow we're going to continue this path of leading through. We're going to talk about leading through our own biases. Leading through our own biases.